Hello viewers, welcome to Union Autonomous College. Today we are going to discuss about a new concept, a new topic that is known as user administration in Unix system. Today we are going to discuss what are the different types of users and what are the different grouping systems we are learning in this topic. Now we can focus on that outlines about this topic. In this topic today we are going to discuss about what are the different types of users specially used to manage that Unix system account. Then we are learning how to managing users and groups, creating a group. Then we are learning how to modifying a group. So these are some criteria through which you can manage some systems contents about this Unix system. Now we can learn what are the different types of accounts are used in this topic. So in this topic generally used three types of accounts on a Unix system. The first account named as root account. Then we are learning next account known as a system accounts. Then we are learning users account. Before going to discuss about these types of accounts, we know that in our different type of logical systems, like your just you can think about your user ID and your mail account system and some from designing system. There also use some accounts through which to manage their some confidential informations through using user ID and password. But here also we have some account systems, but what are the different criteria used in this root account system? Now we are focused on it. In this root account system we are learning actually it is a one type of super user system and which have complete and unfiltered control of the system. A super user can run any commands without any restriction, so that this user should be assumed as a system administrator. Because we know that in our SQL language also we have some account by if you are learning about your Oracle or MySQL etc. It also provides some accounts. By using that account also provides some user ID and password. By using that user ID and password you can enter into the that account. In that account you can managing your user informations or some tables which are present in that database. Similarly, in that Unix systems also provides an account, and that account named as a super user. By using that super user can overall control that Unix system. In that Unix system also have some commands without any restriction, and this user should be assumed as a system administrator. That means by using that root account we can get some specific criteria or specific regulations. By using that regulations we can manage overall system information in it, so that root account is the most essential part in our Unix system. Next we are learning what is the real concept of system accounts. We know that system accounts are those needed for the operation of specific components, and that components must be used in our system oriented. Then just we can focus on that example. Suppose the user have a mail accounts. In that mail accounts that account named as SSHD account, that may be anything else, there is no problem. Then these accounts are usually needed for some specific function on your system, and any modifications to them could adversely affect the system. We know that that means this system account is provided through your root account. Whenever that system account is configured by a specific user and that user is not part of that system, in that moment the whole and each and every data of a computer system which is related to Unix, each and everything can be lost. It is so difficult to retrieve or difficult to enter to that system. You need some criteria. Through that criteria you can also recover that specific modifications or specific informations from your Unix system. Next we are learning what are the different types of users. Just one part is known as user accounts. In that account what are the real criteria used? These user accounts provide some interactive access to the system for users and groups of users, so that that users are typically assigned these accounts and usually have limited access to critical files and directories. By using that files and directories we can easily manage it. That's why that Unix support a concept of group account, which logically groups a number of accounts. Every account would be a part of another group account, and a Unix group plays important role in handling file permissions and file management, as well as we can say our process management. We know that by using that Unix system we are getting an environment or getting a platform through which we can manage different type of accounts, and that type of accounts are processed through some permissions. That permissions may be read only permissions, write only permissions, read or write only permissions, one-handed user, multi-user cardinals can be used in this Unix system, which is the most important part in our security approach. That's why we are learning that Unix support different type of group accounts very easily managed in our computer system. That may be logically, that may be physically, but especially that logically is used in our Unix system. There is no any physical support for Unix system. Next we are learning how to managing users and groups in our computer system. So that there are four main user administrator files are used in it. The first file known as a password, and that is specially denoted in the short form, that is known as /etc/password PSSWD, and that means stands for password, which keeps the user account and password information in it. So this file holds the majority of information about accounts on the Unix system. We know that this password sections is the most important part in our Unix system. By using that password we can make our system more secure and more robust. That's why we prefer that most user administrator part or role, that is known as password section. Next we are learning shadow. Now we are learning what are the real use of that shadow, and that shadow must be present in that /etc and /shadow. Especially it holds the encrypted password of the corresponding account, not all the system support files. That means it is specially holds each account, and that account must be related to our password section, and that password sections must be encrypted. That means it is not open to each and everyone, and that's why these passwords must be saved successfully in it, and which is not shared to each and everyone. That's why not all systems support these files, and that shadow is specially one type of special effect in our Unix system, which makes our password very encrypted and secure in it. Next we are learning type, that is known as a group. Then what is the use of that group? Similarly, that group must be denoted in the form of /etc, then /group. In that group section we are learning this file contains the group information for each account. That means by using that group section we can make our whole informations for each account very secure. That means it can be processed in a specific order, that there is no any other process to deviate it, and it is a secured way of management in our grouping section. That's why we are using that group section to managing our Unix directory or Unix file system. Next we are learning G-shadow. What is the real use of that G-shadow? And that G-shadow is also denoted in that directory that is known as etc. In that etc section we have some different type of accounts like your password, shadow, group, and G-shadow also. What is the use of that G-shadow? Specially which has some content some secure group account information. That means that G-shadow means it can hold some accounts, that accounts must be secured, it is not visible to each and everyone, still it is present in our system. And this type of managing account sections or grouping sections is provided by our Unix system, and it is a real process through which you can manage our each and every data or information in it. Next we are learning what are the different procedures are used in this section. Here check all the above file using that cat command. We know that by using that cat command we can copy it, or we can making one files in it. By using that sections we are learning what are the different permissions, what are the majority groups are used in it. So we have some command or descriptions in this section. In this slide here we have a one command like user add. What is the real use of that user add? By using that command a user can add accounts to the system. That means by using that command we can easily add an account, or we can create a new account in our system. Just to think about in our Gmail account system, if a user want to create a new account, then can press one option that is known as a new register a new account creation. By using that option we can create a new account in it. By using that user add option or command, we can add an account to the system very successfully and very reliable way without any complexity. Next command were used, that is known as user mod. By using that command, user can easily modifies its account attributes very successfully. There is no need any other command or any other environment to create it and to manage it. By using that command user mod, means user modify command, we can easily manage or easily change some account properties in it. That's why it is known as attributes. Attributes means properties. By using that command we can change the whole account properties or account attributes in our Unix system. Next command is used as userdel. What is the real use of that userdel? In that userdel command we can specially delete some accounts from the system. By using that, Unix system is so very reliable and very secure platform. We know that by using that userdel command we can easily delete a created account or exist account from our Unix system. Similarly, we have another command like group add. Then what is the real use of that group add? By using that command, a user can add some groups to the system. By adding that type of groups in that system, we can easily manage it without any complexity. That's why it is so reliable platform. We know that due to that section and that command, and that Unix system is a robust in nature. By using that next command known as group mod. What is the real use of that group mod? Group mod means by using that command we can modify some group attributes, means some collection of group attributes. We can easily maintain it or we can easily configure its properties very successfully without any complexity. Next we are learning what are the group del command. By using that group del command we can remove some groups from the system. We know that in our Unix system we have lots of groups. By using that groups we can easily managing it, we easily creating it and easily sectioned it. But here that group del command specially used to remove some groups from the system very reliable way or very successful way without any problem. So that by using these two commands like a group add command, group mod command, group del command, we can easily manage our accounts, group accounts very successfully. But here that user add, user mod and user del specially used for single user handling commands, and it is not managed more than one users. That's why if a user have more than one users, in that time it is known as a group. If a user want to maintain that groups, by using these three commands like group add, group mod and group del command. Next we are learning what are the different procedures used to create a group. We know that the group creation is not so easy for that. That's why we're using lots of commands in it. Here we will now understand how to create a group. For this we need to create groups before creating any account, otherwise we can make use of the existing groups in our system. So that we have all the groups listed in //etc/groups file. In that file we are grouping some information about some group accounts in it, and that informations or contents is stored in that section. All the default groups are system account specific groups, and it is not recommended to use them for ordinary accounts. So following is the syntax: create a new group in it. Then how to create a new group? And we know that if a user want to create a new group, we must follow a command, and that command known as group add. By using that group add we can make a new group, and it is a way of creating a new group. But here also we use some options. By using that options to make that group more reliable or more robust in nature. That's why suppose we have written here in this slide group add. In that group add we have option like -b, then gid, then -o, -r and -f. What are the real meaning of that options, and what are the real use of that options here? We know that -gid specially used as a numerical value of the group's id. If a user use some numerical values, just we can say suppose Anil.123, and that 123 specially managed through that group id, and that group id means -g-gid. By using that option, we can easily maintain some numerical values in our user ID or group ID. Next option known as -o. By using the -o, or we can say -o, by using that -o, which especially permits to add a group with non-unique ID. Means non-unique ID means suppose user never contains some unique ID, that's why user want to add their exist ID as a general ID of that new ID. That's why we are making as a -o. By using that -o, allow a specific user or specific groups to add through some non-unique ID. There is no need to create a unique ID, but by using that exist ID, we can join through that option like -o, or we can say -o option. By next option known as -r. What are the real use of that -r? We know that this flag instructs some group R to add a system account. That means by using that option, user can easily instruct some group users. By using that group, users can especially maintain their some system accounts. By using that command, user can provide a commands to the system administrator, and that system administrator can easily create a flag. By using that flag, we can easily add a group in that system account. So in this way, we are using that option like -r. Next option known as -f. What are the real use of that -f option? We know that this option causes to just exist with success status. What is the meaning of that success status? Means if a user is successfully created a group and some transferring some file to that group or in that account, and that files are successfully stored in it, then it is known as some success status option. If the specified group already exists in this system, then we are using like -g option. By using that -g, if the specified GID already exists in it, then other unique GID is chosen. That means if a user want to create adding some groups, that groups is already exist in it, but still user want to create another group or another options in it. In that moment, user must use that section here -f. By using that -f, which is successfully managed in our Unix system. Next option known as a group name. What is the real use of that group name? Here that group name, actual group name to be created. If a user want to create a group name, that may be your study group, that may be your online class group, and that means it is one variable. In that group name option, in that command we can specifically maintain it, but here we are generating some information in it. Already I discussed here. By using that group name, we can, it is one variable name. In that variable name, we can easily maintain it. And if a user want to create some group name, which should be essential in our user system, in that moment it is successfully created. That's why that group name is essential part in our Unix system, and which is not easily available in our any other system like Windows, any other operating systems, whatever we can say. But here in our Unix system, it provides this type of options by using -g, gid, -o, -r, -f, then group name. By using that options, we can successfully create it. By using that creating that commands, and we can make in our group accounts here. Next, we are learning some examples which are related to this topic here. In that section, we can easily maintain here, like if you don't specify any parameter, then the system makes use of the default values. If a user never mentioning any type of options or any type of values in it, in that moment, and user may specify its default value in it. That may be your -g or option, whatever, any type of options, any type of values in it. That means it is known as a default value, which is adding in our Unix system. Next, learning what are the different following examples are used in it. Here, if a user want to create a developers group with default values, which is very much acceptable for the most of the administrators. If most of the administrators are used to create a new group, in that moment user must create an account. By using that account, user must access its group information in it. How is it possible? We know that we have a Unix prompt like a $sign. By using the $sign, user can use a command like group add command. By using that group add command, we can create a group by using a name like developers. Instead of the developers, we can write anything else. By using any name, we can create a group. By using that group creation, we can easily manage it and easily maintain its status in our computer system. Okay, finally, thank you.